In the heart of Manhattan's glittering skyline, where glass towers pierced the clouds and wealth flowed like champagne, lived Daniel Harrington, a man who wore his arrogance like a tailored suit. At 38, he was a self-made millionaire, his fortune built on tech startups that promised to revolutionize lives, but often just padded his bank account. His penthouse on the Upper East Side was a shrine to excess. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and a view of Central Park that screamed privilege. Yet, despite the opulence, his home felt hollow, a fact he refused to acknowledge. Daniel's wife, Lila, was the opposite, a quiet, kind-hearted woman of 32 who'd grown up in a small Ohio town, where people still left their doors unlocked and shared homemade pies. She'd met Daniel at a charity gala 7 years ago, her simple grace catching his eye amid the sea of sequined gowns. Lila's warmth softened his edges back then, her laughter a melody he hadn't known he needed. They married quickly, her small-town optimism clashing with his relentless ambition. But as his empire grew, so did his ego. Lila's simplicity, once endearing, became a liability in his world of power lunches and elite social circles. "You don't fit here," he'd snapped one evening, after she'd worn a modest dress to a gala, drawing snickers from his polished acquaintances. Lila's hazel eyes, usually bright with hope, dimmed. She didn't argue, she never did. Instead, she poured herself into small acts of kindness, volunteering at a local shelter, baking for neighbors, or slipping a few dollars to the homeless man outside their building. Daniel barely noticed. His attention had drifted to Vanessa, a sleek, ambitious lawyer who frequented the same high society events. Vanessa was everything Lila wasn't: sharp, glamorous, and hungry for the same power Daniel craved. Their affair began in secret, stolen moments in hotel suites and late-night texts. Vanessa's wit matched his, her confidence fueling his ego. She whispered promises of a life unburdened by Lila's quiet goodness, a life where they'd rule Manhattan's elite together. Daniel, intoxicated by her allure, decided Lila was an anchor he no longer needed. One rainy October evening, he handed her divorce papers over their polished dining table, his voice cold as steel. "I'm done, Lila. Vanessa's my future. You'll get a settlement, enough to start over. Just go." His words cut deeper than he intended, but he didn't flinch. Lila's hands trembled as she signed, her eyes glistening, but resolute. She packed a single suitcase, leaving behind the designer clothes he'd bought her, and walked out into the storm without a word. The doorman later told Daniel she'd given her umbrella to a shivering delivery boy before disappearing into the night. Months passed. Daniel married Vanessa in a lavish ceremony at the plaza, the event splashed across tabloids. Life with Vanessa was electric: private jets, exclusive parties, and a partnership that felt like a power merger. But cracks appeared. Vanessa's charm masked a calculating streak. She pushed Daniel to take riskier investments, her eyes gleaming at the prospect of more wealth. Meanwhile, Lila's absence left a void he couldn't name. The shelter she'd volunteered at struggled without her, and the homeless man outside stopped asking for her cookies, his eyes accusing every time Daniel passed. One crisp spring morning, 2 years after the divorce, Daniel's world tilted. He was leaving his office when a woman stepped from the crowd, her face half hidden by a scarf. Lila. She looked different, thinner, her hair shorter, but her hazel eyes still held that quiet strength. In her arms was a toddler, a boy with dark curls and Daniel's unmistakable green eyes. The street noise faded as she spoke. "This is Ethan. He's yours." Her voice was steady, but her gaze pierced him. "I didn't come back for you. I came for him. He deserves to know his father, if you're capable of being one." Daniel's knees buckled. Vanessa, who'd been at his side, froze, her perfectly manicured nails digging into his arm. Questions exploded in his mind, but Lila offered no explanations, only a slip of paper with an address in Brooklyn. "Come tomorrow if you want to talk. Or don't. Your choice." She turned, Ethan clinging to her, and vanished into the subway crowd. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. Vanessa's reaction was predictably venomous. She demanded he ignore Lila, claiming the child was a ploy for money. But Daniel's mind replayed Lila's eyes, the boy's face. His son. He hadn't known she was pregnant when she left. She'd never told him. Guilt, an emotion he'd long buried, clawed at him. Against Vanessa's protests, he went to the address the next day. a modest brownstone in a neighborhood far from his world of wealth. Lila welcomed him warily, Ethan playing with wooden blocks on a worn rug. The apartment was small but warm, filled with books and handmade quilts. Over coffee, Lila told her story. After the divorce, she'd discovered her pregnancy. Broke and heartbroken, she'd returned to Ohio, living with her sister and working as a waitress. Ethan was born in a rural hospital, his first cries echoing in a room with peeling paint. Lila had planned to raise him alone, but a recent job offer brought her back to New York. She hadn't intended to confront Daniel, but seeing him on the street, something shifted. "Ethan deserves more than my pride," she said simply. Daniel listened, his arrogance crumbling. He saw the life Lila had built, humble, but rich with love. Ethan toddled over, offering him a block, and Daniel's heart cracked open. He spent the day there, awkward at first, but drawn to the boys' giggles and Lila's quiet resilience. When he left, he promised to return. Weeks turned into months. Daniel visited regularly, learning to change diapers and read bedtime stories. Ethan's laughter became his anchor, Lila's kindness a mirror to his flaws. Vanessa grew distant, her patience thinning as Daniel's priorities shifted. She left him after a heated argument, accusing him of losing his edge. Daniel barely noticed her absence. The turning point came on Ethan's third birthday. Lila had organized a small party at the park, inviting neighbors and shelter families she'd helped. Daniel arrived with a modest gift, a wooden train set, not the extravagant toys Vanessa would have chosen. As Ethan played, Lila shared stories of her work at the shelter, her voice alive with purpose. Daniel realized her selflessness wasn't weakness but strength, a power he'd never understood. That evening, as fireflies danced, Daniel confessed his regrets. "I was a fool, Lila. I threw away what mattered for things that don't." She listened, her expression unreadable. "I don't need your apologies, Daniel. I need you to be a father."